So, this is going to be awkward because my wife says, I'm not a big talker. So when I first heard about this, I was coming to Marin anyway, and someone said, the TED people would like to talk to you. Or that's what I thought they said. So I was like, great, I love Ted. You know, he's a great guy. No. But, I said, yeah, I'd love to talk to him. Whatever. Let's sit down. Let's talk. And then 2 days ago, my friend said, so are you prepared for your talk? And I said, yeah, I mean, we're just going to talk, right? And he's like, no, you have to do a TED talk. And I was like, wait a second. There must be a mistake. You know, TED talks are for smart people or, you know, some people that people think are smart, but not a guy like me. I'm an actor, silly actor. Sorry, feel free to laugh because self-deprecating humor is sort of my strong suit. But no, I'm actually here to talk about personal philanthropy. I had an amazing experience 2 years ago. Well, to start at the beginning, by the technology. I sat and I wrote my whole speech down and timed it and sent it to myself. But I sent myself an early draft. And, yeah. And it was a draft I was joking around with. And then for some reason, the last word on it was dumb guy. So I get my speech here and I look at it and it says dumb guy. So, yeah. So I don't really have a prepared speech, but I'll go as long as I can. Again, not a big talker, by the way. So my parents were always big into philanthropy and you know, teaching us what, you know, right things to do and taking us to no nukes, you know, rallies and, you know, speaking up and just being, you know, concerned members of society. So they sort of instilled that in all of us. And 2 years ago, I had an amazing experience. A huge organization called America's Second Harvest approached me and they said, we're having a name change. They're a huge organization. They're, the nation's largest domestic hunger relief organization. So, they came to me and they said, listen, we're changing our name to Feeding America and we'd really like the support of Hollywood and celebrities. And, can you help us get the name change out? And I was like, sure. Yeah. That's easy. One of the good things about a celebrity, and to me, the only real powerful aspect is that it's like having a microphone and you can really, or a spotlight, and you could really, you know, make a lot of noise or shine a light on something. But, it also has to have, you know, a commitment behind it. It has to have a measured response. So I got involved with now Feeding America and we got the name change out there and I started to find out what this organization did. They feed hungry Americans. They feed 37 million Americans a year. But there are 39 million Americans that are considered food insecure. That's 1 in 6 Americans. So the more I started learning about this organization, I really got consumed by it. And, you know, I was a kid, one time, and I was on the, you know, school lunch ticket program and, so, you know, I knew the importance of having, you know, that need filled. And, so I started sort of looking into the organization. They have, 203 plus or so, food banks across the country. And those food banks go out to 63,000 different pantries, soup kitchens, you know, church groups. And they feed people. They distribute food. They distribute more than 3 billion pounds of food a year. And the more I got into it, and the more I started learning about these different, you know, people who've been feeding people for 30 plus years and the inception of the, organization when the founder saw a woman and her child going through, a garbage can in the 70s. He was inspired to make a change. I got inspired as well. So I started donating my time to a local food pantry and community center called St. Joseph Center in Venice, California 2 times a week. So I go there, and then you start seeing the faces of hunger. And the faces of hunger aren't what you expect. Although Feeding America does feed the homeless, and it's an incredibly important aspect of their work, they feed working Americans. They feed, our neighbors, our friends, our family. And you see the people coming through, and it's people that have jobs. They have to come into the pantry really early so they can get this food, so that they can go drop their kids off, get to their job, pick their kids up, come home, and they still don't have enough money to pay their bills. So they have to make decisions between, lights and gas, and, they have to, function. So, I started seeing these people, and I started having these incredible experiences there. Just, seeing a really hungry kid rip open a bag of bread and just like shove it in his mouth. Something like that. You're kind of like, it just takes you back. Or a frantic woman who comes in who doesn't know how she's going to feed her kids. She had just lost her job 2 weeks ago, and she had no idea what she was going to do. She was frantic and desperate, and she came for an emergency bag and then got into the program. But you have these experiences, and one of the most significantly personal to me was I was going through the trash, and someone said, "David?" And I looked up, and it was this guy, and it was a really cool-looking guy who was in his late 40s, early 50s, and he had really bright eyes, and he goes, "Oh, man, I used to do improvisation with your father 25 years ago with Sills and Company." And I was like, "Hey, wow, man, that's incredible." And I used to go there a lot as a kid. And he said, "Yeah, man, this is my first time coming through to a food pantry and asking for food. It's been a really hard time. Work's been really scarce. And so thanks for doing this," or whatever. And I was like, "No, thank you for coming in here. But, this is a guy who's been a working actor for 35 years. And essentially it was like, wow, that could easily have been my father or, a member of my family or. So that was a really touching experience. I love charity. I love charity anonymously, but I am a celebrity, so I go out and talk about it. I do a lot of things that you guys don't know about. I mean, but it's sort of my job to, go out there and talk, get people involved. And, Feeding America, I started doing a lot of different events for them and helping them raise money and helping them raise awareness. And we started, something called the Entertainment Council, which is a group of concerned artists, actors, musicians, athletes that have joined together to help fight hunger. And it's been a really amazing experience. We got to put on a concert called Rock a Little, Feed a Lot, where my friends Sheryl Crow and Ben Harper agreed to perform there, and among other artists. We've done a lot of different programs, something called Stamp Out Hunger, where my wife did this did this ad with me, and it's for the postal workers, postal service. And their workers, they'll pick up a bag of food at your mailbox and drop it to the local food bank. And just different stuff. And sort of the point of me telling you this is that you guys all have a power to engage your friends, to go out there, to do something, especially if you have a talent or a gift. I started a clothing line, and we started doing shirts for different causes. We did one for Save Darfur, and one for Music Unites, and we also did earrings and jewelry with a wonderful lady named Satya, amazing jeweler in New York, for EBMRF, which is a charity for a rare skin condition called epidermolysis bullosa. And a friend of ours had a child, and Brandon, and he had this condition. So it immediately opened our eyes to this and all of these kids that were experiencing this. So it touched us personally, so we got really involved with it. And those necklaces and everything have raised over $250,000. And it was a little, idea that we kind of threw together. And you guys all have the ability to sort of bring your friends together. And one of the really great things about donating your time is that, and it's often said in the sort of charitable world, that whoever's donating their time gets more back than the person you're serving. And it's really true. It really does lift your spirit up. It sort of puts your life into perspective. And so I would encourage all of you to schedule it. You know, we're all so busy. We're all doing all these things, and we all barely have time to think. But to take a few hours out of your week and just, you know, dedicate it to something. And then if you can't make it for some reason, try to see if you can have a friend fill in for you. It's a really inspiring, you know, it feeds your soul in a way that I think we need more of in this world. I really, our world has problems, you know, obviously. And, you know, I really believe in, you know, being kinder to each other, you know, through the internet, through your personal relationships to your spouse or, you know, loved ones, is really like where we have to go in general. And it's sort of a lot of the people that you meet within this nonprofit community, you know, are of that sort of belief. Also, how much time do I? Okay. Also, I would encourage you to find a charity that is really efficient. You know, Feeding America, 98% or cents of the dollar that they take in go right back into the work to feed the people. So I'd encourage you to do that. And another example, sort of coming together. Matt Damon is a good friend, and his business partner or partner in a charity and best friend that he grew up with, a guy named Mark Joubert. They have an organization called One by One, and the One by One Foundation is also dedicated to helping sort of provide you know, a wonderful life for kids in need, health, food, water, clean water, clothing, shelter, education, medicine. And it's just a great thing. So in talking to him, he also sort of joined me with Feeding America and got behind something called the Backpack Program that Feeding America does. And it's sort of like those sort of relationships, working with your friends. Then he went on Entourage, and it was a pretty classic episode where he was talking about, you know, it's for the children. And he mentioned Feeding America and that. And so if you have a business, if you adapt any sort of a charity, if you do ads, I personally think any ad out in the world should always have to include some sort of nonprofit at the bottom. It's you know, it's free space, so it should be also giving back. What else can I say? Oh yeah, my sister Patricia, she's got an amazing project in Haiti called givelove.org, and she found a group of 3,000 plus refugees in Cité Soleil, which is one of the worst neighborhoods in Port-au-Prince. And she found out that no NGOs, it was in the red zone, so nobody was covering it. None of the UN wasn't there, the army wasn't there. So we sort of like started raising noise. She went down there and has developed this entire program to start a little community that's self-sufficient, that helps employ Haitians, that helps provide, utilize their talents to then, you know, be able to go out there and sell things in the market and sell vegetables. And she brought a whole team of sanitation workers down there, people that do like 4,000 people concerts, and she's developing this entire dry hot compost sanitation project that doesn't use any water, and it, once you sort of put the compost material on the crap, you take it and you put it all into this huge vat. And if you go to Haiti, you'll see how huge a problem sanitation is. And then they take this big vat and put it into the country somewhere, and after a year, it's completely the most nutritious soil you could plant anything with. So it's a really amazing project. So she was going down there, and I went down with her with my brother Richmond, and we sort of, you know, got down there and made some noise and got sort of people behind it, and we're moving ahead with this project. So it's sort of, that's the point. Like, just open your heart to it, get out there, do something extra. And I'll end it with a little story, which is just sort of where my world is at. Well, one thing, it's also a lot easier to donate your time when you're an actor because you often have a lot of time on your hands. So I understand when you guys are hard working, but do what you can. But I'm telling you, this nonprofit thing is pretty exhausting. No, but no. So I went for a bike ride, and I was gonna meet my wife in town in Malibu, and I rode my bike there, and she was gonna run late. So I was like, "Don't worry, honey, I'll meet you. I'm just gonna go by the beach." And I went to the beach, and I saw this thing called Surfers Healing, and it was this tent there, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing, Surfers Healing." And I sort of walked in and saw some friends that I knew, and it was all these professional surfers who have donated their time for autistic kids and special needs kids. They get them out on surfboards, and these kids are surfing, and they're just having a great time. One of the kids was not having a great time. Her name is Jennifer Teal. She is a very sweet girl. And she came in and she was crying and freaked out by it, and she sat down. She was very sweet, and she's very upfront. She's like, "My name's Jennifer Teal. What's your name?" And I said, "Oh, I'm David Arquette." And she's like, "Nice to meet you." She says, "I love Zac Efron." And I was like, "Wow, really?" It's like, "Yeah, I love him." And like her mom and sister were there, and they're like, she really loves Zac Efron. And I was like, "Wow, that's weird. I know Zac. I could call him. Let's try to call him." So I was able to track Zac down, and I called him, and I was like, "Jennifer, Zac Efron wants to talk to you." And she got on the phone, and her face lit up like you'd never believe. And it's sort of like, it was I believe in sort of, spirituality. So I think it's why I was sort of taken there, and it's, why, that to me is more, successful, a day than I could ever wish for. So, thank you all. Thanks for having me.